Let's resume the Rounder series for the evening. It's now 9:47 on the 24th of May, 2025. The moon is fairly close, I think within a day or two of being a new moon, which gives me probably 4 or 5 days maximum to continue with the Rounder series. Tonight we start with NGC 3135, and looking through my notes, we go as far as NGC 3198. The largest and 3198 will prove to be the largest and brightest galaxy of the evening, whereas NGC 3188A will be the faintest, and it's a 16th magnitude galaxy, so a great opportunity to test the reach of the scope and the transparency of the sky. Here before us on the screen now, a better night of seeing actually than last night is NGC 3111 at 10 hours 6 minutes 7.4 seconds plus 47 degrees 15 minutes and 45 seconds. We had this as our last view of the evening at Ursa Majoris. Visual magnitude 13.0, less than 1 arc minute in size, 0.9 by 0.8 arc minutes, with an average surface brightness of 12.5, through a 17.5 inch scope. In 1999, Steve Gottlieb describes it as fairly faint, fairly small, round, about 0.8 arc minutes in diameter. Weak concentration in the center, very faint stellar nucleus at moments, forms an eastern vertex of an equilateral triangle with 2 magnitude 11 point stars about 4 arc minutes distant, and the 2 stars are visible right. Our first view of the evening is NGC 3135, also in Ursa Majoris at 10 hours 10 minutes 54.4 seconds, just barely, about 45 degrees 57 minutes and 1 second, barely qualifying for the view this evening, which is 45 degrees north and higher declination. Visual magnitude is 13.4. We're going to see a lot of those tonight, 13th magnitude galaxies. 0.9 by 0.6 arc minutes with an average surface brightness of 12.5 and a position angle of 90 degrees. Through a 17.5 scope, also done in 1999, that's unsurprisingly, faint, fairly small, elongated 3 to 2 east-west, 0.8 by 0.5 arc minutes, low or no concentration. We are getting concentration, and we are seeing extensions. I would say we are at least getting 24-inch optical eyepiece views on this evening. Here we have NGC 3144. It's at 10 hours 15 minutes 32 seconds plus 74 degrees 13 minutes and 14, which puts it in Draco the Dragon. Once again, visual magnitude 13.4, a little bit larger at 1.2 by 0.7 arc minutes and an average surface brightness of 13.1. Position angle is 0 degrees. Something to be aware of is that most 13th magnitude galaxies pretty much map up against their average surface brightness as their total sight surface brightness, so they're roughly 1 by 1 arc minute in size. Our next study for the evening in the Rounder series is NGC 3147, one of the brighter galaxies this evening at magnitude 10.6. Its size is a little small, I would say, for that magnitude, 3.9 by 3.5 arc minutes and an average surface brightness of 13.3 and a position angle of 155 degrees. It's at 10 hours 16 minutes 53.5 seconds with a northern declination of 73 degrees 24 minutes and 2 seconds, once again in Draco. Through a 17.5 inch scope in 1991 at the eyepiece, Steve Gottlieb describes it as bright, fairly large, slightly elongated 4 to 3 northwest to southeast. Contains a very bright core with a stellar nucleus. There is an impression of a dust lane to the west of the core, and that west would be up here, and you can see a bit of an annularity right here with the spiral arm. Here we have NGC 3155. It's in Draco at 10 hours 17 minutes 39.9 seconds, plus 74 degrees, 20 minutes, 51 seconds. Visual magnitude is 12.9. Size 1.4 by 1 arc minute with an average surface brightness of 13.1 and a position angle of 35 degrees. Through that 17.5-inch scope of the eyepiece, faint, small, slightly elongated, even surface brightness forms a pair with NGC3144, 11.6 arc minutes south and west. Well, this is north, this is south, and here's west. This is probably the galaxy being referred to right about here. What we now are seeing is NGC3164. It's in Ursa Majoris at 10 hours, 15 minutes, 11.4 seconds, plus 56 degrees, 40 minutes, and 19 seconds. Visual magnitude 13.7, and in keeping with that magnitude, 0.9 by 0.7 arc minutes, average surface brightness 13, with a position angle of 0, so it's facing pretty much due north. Through an 18-inch scope in 2004, Steve describes it as very faint, fairly small, elongated 3:2 ratio, north to south, 0.7 by 0.5 arc minutes. Low surface brightness with very little concentration, located 11 arc minutes southwest of magnitude 8.5 HD, AAA 28. So here's probably the bright star he's referring to, but I'm not going to track it down because I'm trying to keep the video down to less than 25 minutes. We're now on to NGC3168. It's probably this galaxy here, although there is at least one more, obviously, in the field. NGC3168 is located at 10 hours, 16 minutes, 23 seconds, plus 60 degrees, 14 minutes, and 6 seconds in Ursa Majoris. Visual magnitude 13.5, 1 by 0.9 arc minutes, with an average surface brightness of 13.3. Basically, those numbers tell us that about a 12-inch telescope should reveal it. Through a 17.5 done in 1988, Steve describes it as fairly faint, very small, round, small bright core located 5.6 arc minutes northeast of magnitude 6.8. There's a very bright star, SAO 15,131. Brightest of a trio with UGC 5542, 4.8 minutes northeast, noted as faint, very small, round, small bright core, and CGC 290-021, 5 minutes northwest, noted as faint, very small, round. 2 magnitude 9.5, 10 magnitude stars are very close to it. So we are getting several galaxies in this field. I've been doing my best to eliminate stray light sources, but apparently I'm picking up another one now. I've played around with the histogram settings a little bit to alleviate the issue. Notice the cooler is involved. This is NGC 3172, otherwise known as Polarisma Borealis, closest NGC galaxy to the Earth's north celestial pole. And if you're interested, it's at 11 hours, 47 minutes, 13.0 seconds, with a declination of something very close to 90 degrees, plus 890535 in the constellation of Ursa Minoris, like Polaris itself. The galaxy is quite faint, magnitude 14.1, but a little bit large for that magnitude, 1.1 by 0.95 arc minutes, average surface brightness 13.7, and a position angle of 39 degrees. Now there's a very bright galaxy right there, but it's possible we got a little bit of drift going that close to the pole. Through a 48-inch scope at 375 and 488, fairly bright, moderately large, round, sharply concentrated with a very bright round core that increases to the center and a low surface brightness 45 arc second sized halo. A magnitude 12.5 stars, 1.5 arc minutes in separation to the north and the west. Here's the north. Here's the north and here's the west, so there is a rather brightish star So, and a magnitude 1616.5 star is with a 1 arc minute, 50 arc seconds. And there are some fainter stars associated with this one. This is really the brighter of the galaxies present. And once again, it has a name, which is known as Polarissima Borealis. To bring out NGC 3174, I had to move the histogram slider to the left, otherwise it was relatively invisible. NGC 3174 is located at 10 hours 15 minutes 32 seconds plus 74 degrees 13 minutes 14 seconds in Draco. Has a visual magnitude of 13.4 and a size of 1.2 by 0.7 arc minutes with an average surface brightness of 13.1 and a position angle of 0 degrees. Well, that kind of tells us that this is our galaxy right here because it's north and south in its orientation. 3174 was described also. It says that it's also NGC 3144, which I think we covered earlier, but I am not sure. Anyway, so this may be a duplicate. Here we have NGC 3182. It's at 10 hours, 19 minutes, 33 seconds, plus 58 degrees, 12 minutes, and 21. Why do I say plus? I guess it's just we are looking towards the celestial pole. The galaxy is an Ursa Minor, major. It's got a visual magnitude of 12.1 and a size, roughly about the size of a 12th that we'd expect, 1.8 by 1.5 arc minutes, and an average surface brightness of 13.1. And it might help you out to identify it because it has a position angle of 155 degrees, so swinging around towards the south. Through a 17.5-inch scope done in the new millennium, fairly faint, fairly small, elongated 4 to 3, north-northwest, south-southeast, 0.9 by 0.7 arc minutes visible. He must have had a reticle to remember to be able to measure those. Bright core, occasionally stellar, nucleus, collinear with 2 magnitude 13 stars, 2.4 and 3.5 arc minutes to the northeast. So here's a couple of stars there. This is obviously our galaxy. I'm not sure what he's referring to, but this one star is definitely fainter. NGC 3183 is a sweet-looking little edge-on galaxy in Draco. 10 hours, 21 minutes, 49.4 seconds, plus 74 degrees, 10 minutes, and 37 seconds. Magnitude 11.9, about the right size, 2.3 by 1.4 arc minutes with an average surface brightness of 13 and a position angle of 170 degrees. That pretty much confirms that. Through a 17.5-inch scope done in 2002, moderately bright, fairly large, elongated 2 to 1, north-northwest, south-southeast, 2 by 0.8 arc minutes with a broad concentration, but no well-defined core. I think we are getting definition of the core right there in the center of the galaxy. Here we are looking for 2 galaxies, because I do not think I can input 3188A. What we're looking for is NGC 3188. It's an Ursa Majoris at 10 hours, 19 minutes, 42.9 seconds, plus 57 degrees, 25 minutes, and 24 seconds. Has a visual magnitude, as you can see there, 13.7, sub 1 arc minute in size, 0.9 by 0.9 face-on with an average surface brightness of 13.3. Through a 17.5-inch scope, surprisingly faint, small, round, diffuse, unconcentrated except for extremely faint stars superimposed at center are a very faint stellar nucleus. Appears to have an irregular surface brightness. 2 faint stars just off the edges, magnitude 14.5, 0.6 arc minutes northwest of center, and a magnitude 15 star, 0.6 arc minutes east of center, also confuse the observation, forms a close double with NGC 3188A, 0.7 arc minutes west, southwest, and he describes it as not being seen. Well, this is our 88A. Here's 3188. We are seeing it. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of data on NGC 3188A. Its right ascension is 10 hours 1938.2 seconds with a declination in 2000 of 57 degrees 2507 seconds. It has a blue-violet magnitude of 17.5 and a visual of 16.6. No wonder he missed that galaxy. Has a J band of 14.84, an H band of 13.65, and a K band of 13.64. Average surface brightness is 13.7, but don't let that fool you because it's incredibly small galaxy. Dimensions 0.4 by 0.2 arc minutes, which basically means something along the line of 12 arc seconds, 24 by 12 arc seconds, and a position angle is 78 degrees. All right, so what we're doing tonight is this is the faintest and smallest galaxy with a magnitude average of 15.1. In other words, if you add up the actual visual brightness and the surface brightness, divide by 2, it comes out to 15.1, which should be within the range of a 24-inch scope. We are seeing it here, folks, with a 10-second exposure using ASI Live and the ZWO imager on a fairly nice night of seeing transparency. Keep in mind on that 16.5 magnitude galaxy that we are using a 6-inch scope, but 10-second exposure times, which is 4 times the exposure times of the Rev2 system I've used in the past. This should have basically effectively doubled our aperture, and I always assumed that the Rev2 was basically rendering about 18-inch eyepiece views, so this one could be very close to 36 at 10-second exposure time. We're now on to NGC 3191. It's an Ursa Majoris at 10 hours 19 minutes 5.1 seconds with 46 degrees 27 minutes and 15 in declination. Visual magnitude 13.4, about the right size but a little small, 0.8 by 0.6 arc minutes with an average surface brightness of 12.4 and a position angle of 5 degrees. All right. Through 17.5-inch scope done in 1994, Steve describes it as fairly faint, small, round, 0.7 arc minutes in diameter with a weak, broad concentration. Located 4.1 arc minutes south-southwest of a magnitude 10 star. And it pairs up with another galaxy, NCG plus 08-19017, 1.3 arc minutes to the west. This is the west. That's our galaxy, probably in the 16th magnitude range. NGC 3197 is a galaxy in Draco, 10 hours, 14 minutes, 27.7 seconds, plus 77 degrees, 49 minutes, 13 seconds in declination. Probably the average galaxy of the evening has been about this. Visual 13.5 magnitude with a size of 1.3 by 1 arc minutes and an average surface brightness of 13.6 with a position angle of 155 degrees. It's pretty clear that our galaxy is right here on the screen. Through 17.5-inch scope done in 1989, described as faint, small, round, even surface brightness, located almost at a midpoint of 2 magnitude 11 stars to the northeast and the southwest by about 3.5 arc minutes in separation. Those are the 2 stars. I think we pretty much validated that one, and we're getting quite a good view of the core region, and an expansive aura of nebulosity. Well, I would agree with Steve on this one. This is our showpiece galaxy of the evening. NGC, and it also happens to be the 250th in the series, if I've numbered them correctly. There have been a few off over time, but this is the 250th. We've already progressed to almost NGC 3200. So 250 into 3200 gives you an idea of maybe 6% of the catalog is a rounder from 45 degrees north. NGC 3198 is a visual magnitude 10.3, largest galaxy of the evening, as you can see, 8.5 by 3.3 arc minutes, and an average surface brightness of 13.8, with a position angle of 35 degrees. I'll give you the full description through a 48-inch scope of the eyepiece. At 375x, we're operating at maybe half that. I might zoom in on it. NGC 3198 is a showpiece, so let's go ahead and push the magnification way up to get something that resembles what Steve is talking about. Stars are blurring out. We've gone to some, let's go to 250% zoom. All right, so this is close to what he's describing. It's a large spiral extending 72 aspect ratio southwest to northeast, roughly 8 by 2.5 arc minutes. Contains a bright, elongated central bar, punctuated by a very small, bright core that rises to a stellar nucleus. I'd say it was stellar. Slightly brighter patches are visible at the ends of the central region. Oh yeah, we can see some H2 regions there, star formation, where the spiral arms emerge. Okay. A tight inner arm is attached on the northeast end, and that would be north and east. Yeah, we can see it there. It bends back sharply and closely parallels the central region. Look for a bend in that baby. This looks more like it might be bending back towards the core. Extending southwest for a length of 3.5 arc minutes, an outer low surface brightness arm sweeps clockwise on the southwest end. You can certainly see sweeping clockwise here or here, depending upon which one it is, but it says southwest. This is the south, this is the west. So here we go, and here we go. All right. A symmetric outer arm on the northeast end of slightly higher surface brightness curls clockwise towards the west. The outer tip-to-tip diameter is nearly 8 arc minutes. An uncatalogued, fairly bright double star, separation 3.7, is 3.5 arc minutes north-northeast of the center. So here's our east. Here's our east, here's our north-northeast. Maybe that was the double he's referring to. All right. Just beyond the halo, and a magnitude 14 star is 2.2 arc minutes south-southeast of center. We're going to go ahead, because we're at 23 minutes, and make this our Carpe Noctem view, but we are going to do a 30-second two-pass view before I activate the image capture once again. What I'm going to do now is step through. This is the first image capture of the stack. I thought I would go ahead and step through several times. We're still less than 25 minutes. I got about 45 seconds to complete this view. 40% zoom, probably somewhere around 75x. 50 is probably somewhere around 100x. Remember, this is an 8 arc minute sized galaxy in its length. Now we're up to 70%. We're probably somewhere around 100x. We're starting to see H2 regions, the beginnings of terminations, especially on the far side of the galaxy. We'll continue up through 80, 90, 100%, which I assume is about 150x, maybe a little bit more. We will continue our step through. And as you notice, we're starting to bring out more and more and more of its definition, although artistically, we're starting to double up on some stars here too. So we're getting some diffusion of the image quality, and maybe because I'm clicking, but the stacking should take care of that, and it really isn't. Continuing all the way up as far as I can get it. Wow, 400%. That's really strange. And repositioning in the screen. Yeah, not exactly our best view. Stepping back down. I'd say our best view is probably somewhere, if it wasn't for the doubling of the stars, I would say our best view is right about at 130%, maybe 200x. And with that, at 26 minutes into this video, I'm going to say carpe noctem.